What's going on, everyone? Today I'm going to be showing you how to go from this to filling out something like this. So we're going to show the total of sales and revenue by region, and we're going to show it by quarter. So what you're looking at now is two different tabs, and so this is really important. So right now in tab 2, we're calling it raw data. Now this is just a sample data set, but I want you to imagine that a team that you work with or someone else has an environment, a URL in Google Sheets that they use, and you want to be able to take, you want to be able to model that data, but you don't want to mess up what they're doing, and you want to automate that data into your URL. So over here, I have set up a situation where I am using an import range to call the other sheets data. So you can see this is the URL, and I'm calling that tab name raw data. And since I already have the headers, I'm just going to do A2 through F. So you can see I'm back over here in raw data. I'm calling essentially all of their data. So I want to be able to take this, and again, the tab name here is raw data as well. So I want to be able to take that data and put it into my sheet. So you'll notice when you first type in that import range formula, it asks you to allow access. So you click the blue button, and the data should come through. So you can see as I go down, it's giving me 129 rows, which is exactly like the sheet we were just looking at. Okay, so now I want to figure out how to get to this. So I'm going to use a series of formulas to help me replicate this data, manipulate this data to show me by region, by quarter, total sales, and total revenue. And what you'll see here is a formula that I've already set up. This is the query formula. This is just the basic understanding of query. If you've never used it, hopefully this helps you out. What you can see is I'm doing equals query, and I'm referencing that data that I'm pulling in here. So again, this is imported from another team, so I never have to change this. I'm always referencing what's new, assuming that they're updating it. So I'm referencing that, and then I'm adding in the Sql Logic, which is Sql Logic basically, and saying select everything, which is this asterisk, where column A is not null. So that's really important, because if you look at this sheet in monthly transactions, you'll see it goes to 129, but it also has like 900 rows of data that we don't want. So I only want this. So that's the basic knowledge of query. And you can use this formula to a whole lot. So we're going to use it to break down by quarter, by region, and whether it's sales or revenue. And then we're going to just show the total over here using index match. All right, so let's start in Q1. I actually am going to copy in the formula that I have over here in the final output. And I'm going to put it right here. Oh. Okay, so we're going right here, Q1, and I'm going to talk you through this formula. So this is one of the best things I can do in Google Sheets to allow me to easily get insights and quickly manipulate data into kind of actionable formulas that change dynamically. So that's like 8 buzzwords, but I'm gonna show you what's going on. So I have to change the references here, and I'll do that here in just a moment. But I want to walk through what we're looking at. So when you do a normal query formula, if I were to do like select count D, instead of the asterisk, I'm changing it to count D. If I were to do that, you'll see it's really actually doing like something here. Well, it's taking this header, count sales, which is the name of that column, and it's giving me the number below it. So I don't want that header in there, I just want the number. So it's really important to understand when you're setting up these formulas. That's why you have to do if error and index before the query, so that you can just get the number, because that's all I want. So I'm saying select the sum of D, so the sum of sales, where B is equal to North America. So I only want North America. And right here you can see this is our time range. So I'm going to go ahead and change it so it's easier to illustrate. Pay attention to the absolute references as well. So you can see it's like $B5. So as I bring that down, it's going to go to EU, AUNZ, and LATAM. So right here, it's the same thing, but it's actually going to go horizontally. So we're saying B $3. So if I were to hit F4 a couple times, this will take me back to the top. So if you were to just hit B3, it's just B3. If you hit it once, it's an absolute reference, so it doesn't ever move from B3. But we want it to be able to change with time. So I'm going to do press it again, so it goes $3. And so then as I drag it over, you'll see it'll go from 1.1 to 3.1 to 6.30 and so on. And then down here, same thing. We're good to go on the reference. So, all right, let me just hit enter. Okay, so you can see now I have a number. So what this is doing is it's saying query all of that data and sum the sales in column D when it's in North America and it's in Q1. So you can, let me talk through this notation here, but I'm saying we're F, which is the month. I'm saying it's greater than or equal to, and then this is the important part. So when you're doing dates in the query formula, you have to precursor it with date, and then you have to do apostrophe, quotation, ampersand, and then text. So this is allowing you to reference what's actually in Google Sheets. So when you do the text, you say the text of B3, and then you can notate it as a date. So in this case, I'm doing year, month, date. You can see that. So I'm able to actually reference a time-bound, series in this equation. So by using greater than equal to 1/1/2021 and less than or equal to 3/31/2021, I'm able to take this over and hit Control R and copy this formula over for North America. So if I were to click in here, you can see it's referencing September and December. Really, it's actually, now that I pay attention to it, I need to fix this because this should be, let's see, we want it to be, I'm going to do this. So I'm going to say 12/31/2020. I'm actually going to do greater than. So that should, does that make sense? So this is saying it's greater than the last day in Q1, and then this is saying it's greater than the last day in Q2, and then this is saying, so this would be October to December. Okay. So now I can take these 4 cells and copy them down, and they dynamically shift with the region. So right here, I'm in Q1 for Australia, New Zealand. If I go over to Q3, you can see it's saying it's greater than June 30th and less than, I feel like I did this wrong. F is greater than June 30th. It's also saying and F is greater than or equal. Okay, yeah, okay. All right, this needs to be, there we go. This is just the name of the game. There's a lot of errors that you can make, but that's just part of it. So let's make sure this is right. So I'm saying B is equal to North America. I'm saying the date is greater than 6:30. So we're in Q3. And I'm saying it's less than or equal to 9:30. Okay, so that makes sense. Awesome. So here you can see on the right, I've done the sum equation to sum each region on the right, so I can reference that. And I've also summed it below, so you can sum the quarters by the enterprise. So this is every single region you're looking at. So what I can actually do here is a really cool part of Google Sheets. So I'm just going to copy those formulas I just created, place them in here, and you'll notice the numbers are the same, and that they should be. So what we're going to do next is actually go in here, and I'm going to just click the 3 dots to bring up Find and Replace. If you're on a PC, you can hit Control H. So what I'm going to do is sum D. So I just know it's sum of E is the revenue. So I'm going to match the specific range. And I'm also going to search in the formula. So this is the cool part. So I can actually replace all these. There's 16, and you can see the numbers have shifted, and our total is just a little bit lower in revenue than it is in sales. So I just made up fake numbers. That's, this guy's doing great. If he's only spending a little bit, he's only losing a little bit, he's taking home a lot in revenue. But you can see right there I was able to use the find and replace formula to easily create a second model that's referencing everything. So we're in the quarters by region, and we changed it to revenue. All right, so there's one last thing I wanted to show, and I'll actually just go to this final output so you can kind of see it, laid out like this. So this is what we're trying to get to, and I'll show you how I did it. So I was able to use the index match formula to reference this this set of data and then this set of data as well. So I'm going to hit F2 so you can see the formula. The orange section here, I'm actually indexing sales, so I want to look at this data set. So I'm doing, so I'm indexing this. So I want it to look as if it's anything in North America, EU, AUNZ, LATAM, and by quarter. In this case, we're looking at North America and total. So that explains, the part to explain that is the match. So what we're going to do here is say we're going to match North America to anything in this reference here. So any of these options, and 0 is, it has to be the right. It can't be like a partial match. It's got to be an exact match. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And then for the second match formula, we want to look at the total, and we want to look at it. We want it to match these headers here. All right, so I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to go over to the revenue side. So you can see below, it's indexing this area down here. So it's similar, where it's indexing the available options that we've got for any of these regions, any of these quarters, and the total. And we're matching, same thing, same as before, North America to this section down here. And what you'll notice is, you could change this to be, so I'm referencing the total, and I'm referencing it actually up here. I'm going to change this to this, just to keep it true to the actual table that I'm referencing. So I'm just selecting this, hitting F2, and changing this to that area of the sheet. So I'm going to hit enter, and I already have them in there, but I can hit control down, and then down here I'm actually summing them. So I didn't reference the total on purpose because I wanted to show that I'm summing all of these regions and it's equal to what's over here. So we have 14, I don't want that. So we have 14,536 and 14,536. So this is really basic for me, and it's just a really great way for, describing data that's coming in a model out. So you could do this with thousands of rows of data. You could join data, and you can use these combinations of query and index match to have really specific models that are easy to duplicate, and you can copy them all over. So I could very easily take this here, I'm going to create the same chart, but instead of region, I could say let's go back over here. Let's say I wanted the actual country. So I'm just going to kind of work on the fly here, but I can just deduplicate this. So you go up to data. Let's go to data, data cleanup, remove duplicates. And this gives me all my countries. So what I'm actually going to do is just put that there. And you'll notice it's still referencing the other tables, but what we can do here is say, I want this to be, I want it to reference USA. It's going to just be 0 because I have that if error set up, so it just goes to 0. But I actually want to change this to C, and I'm going to copy it over, copy it down, and you can see right there you have the breakdown of the actual countries. So, So you could easily just, I'm just kind of creating this on the go, but you can go in here and there you go. You have a model that's itemized by which country, and equals sum of. So you'll notice something here that's pretty interesting is that it's the exact same. So 14,536 and 14,536. So there you go. This is your breakdown by country. In this case, it's sales again, but you could easily do it for revenue, and you could do a similar view here. So leveraging index match and query allows for really great models and a really great way to manipulate data. So this is the first time I've done this, so just going to be kind of coming up with some other ideas. If there's anything you'd love to see, let me know. I'm just kind of doing this for fun as a project. I have a lot of information on Excel, Google Sheets, dashboards such as like Data Studio, Tableau. Trying to learn BigQuery. I know a lot about Python. I even know web development such as HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Python. It's not necessarily my number one skill, but I do know a lot about it. I actually hosted my own website. It's in the description. It's benbrandon.com. I just post a few articles here and there. It's completely hosted by myself. I used GCP and Firebase to get there. It took me a long time, but I want to be able to share knowledge and find ways to teach everyone that there's a lot of really cool things you could do with the technology that, one, is free and not super expensive. That's like the main reason I don't have Excel on this computer, is just because I don't need it. I don't need to pay $100 and whatever a month to use Excel when I can easily use Google Sheets and do stuff that's really cool. So have a great day, and if you have any questions, put something in the comments and I'll get back to you. So awesome.